It looks like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the next set doomed to fail. Well, it looks like I was right. Hey everyone, I'm the Nerdy Attorney, here to get back in the weeds with you with collector booster displays, going through the prices we see here for the new TMNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collector booster box and the set coming out March 6th this year. There's a lot to talk about in this video, but before we jump in, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button, do everything you can to let the algorithm know that you like this content and you want to see more. Also, briefly, if you have time, check out my collection video. I'm giving away 4 Commander decks there. All you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe on that video in order to be entered to win. And finally, don't forget to check out Mana Pool to buy your singles. It's not directly linked to TCG pricing, so always good to throw into your rotation to find the best deal on your cards. Affiliate link below. All right, now that's out of the way, there's a lot I want to talk about with this. I've been tracking this closely and didn't feel I had enough information to fully comment on this until now. We're looking at sub MSRP prices here for the collector booster of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's been a lot of conversation about the set, a lot of hype around the set, but certainly less than we have seen at this point in time in the release cycle for Universes Beyond products. Only 619 of these sold, and the majority of them have been happening since it has been under MSRP. Look at these sale prices: $406, $382, bottoming out just in January 27th. We keep going, $364. It bottomed out lower than MSRP to the tune of almost $100 if you include your tax and then shipping. It's more than $100 off the price. This is a big deal, and it shows a directional shift for what the quick Universes Beyond sets can produce. Now, so far as we know, this was meant to be a full set, but again, this is a bit of a dubious crossover. Avatar was the same way, but Avatar at least had really thoughtful mechanics, really deep interaction with Magic, and creating the new bending mechanics and how we can interact with our lands through earth bending, how mana can be produced in firebending decks. There was a lot of really exciting things that had implications for the rest of the Magic the Gathering trading card game. Here, it's more of the same, just with different characters on the cover. Now, for me personally, this is not a nostalgia thing for me. I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I was much more, I think, a little bit later in the timeline for this. So Avatar hit a little bit harder for me in terms of nostalgia, Spider-Man certainly, but I think we're looking at the fallout from Spider-Man. And I don't mean the Fallout Single Layer, I'm talking about Spider-Man, the set itself. Spider-Man is sitting at a whopping $123 below their MSRP price here at $327. Nothing but downward trajectories on this box. Total sold in the past 3 months, 882. And again, a lot of them are at this very low price point. You see people thinking, okay, maybe given the value of what is apparently only 150 of the borderless soulstones selling for around $30,000 is enough to entice people. I've seen pretty funny math online where people go, okay, if it's a $30,000 card, you can sell it for, 10 to 15% fees. Say you make somewhere between $23,000 to $27,000. How many collector boxes can I open, and what are my odds of pulling the Soulstone? Now, if I had more money and if we were a larger channel, you can bet we would be doing that experiment to see how many boxes it takes before we get a borderless Soulstone. A bad idea, but would be super fun to watch. The Spider-Man fiasco has chilled the entire collector booster box market. And again, it's a shame. I have a lot of nostalgia and love for the Spider-Man properties. There's a lot to like about the comic books. I really wanted to have a positive thought process about this set. And you know what? I did find myself enjoying it. Despite clearly seeing the shortfalls of it, there was plenty for me to like within it. But the price action on this box has caused a giant chilling effect on the entire Magic market, and I think TMNT is indicative of that. In fact, I think what it did is it scared away the investors that was brought on by Final Fantasy. And when I say investors, I also mean speculators here. So this is another box, Final Fantasy. This box, as I've talked about before, I think in a probably negative and unprecedented way, received incredible price hikes in a very short amount of time from release, which was, I thought, bad for the brand, bad for Magic the Gathering, and just was not really positive in the same way that a lot of the people looking to make money on Magic and quick turnarounds on sealed product. Some people call them scalpers, some call them speculators / investors. I don't want to get into the quagmire for this video. I just want to look at the numbers. And in this, we've seen that this box has dropped down since November from around $1,200 down to a low of $980 per box, and we're seeing some decent price action in the past 3 months, but it's certainly cooled off quite a bit from where it was before. We see that there was a buyout at around $1,000 here, so this is the first time we're seeing listings below that price, with one at $980 here. BOM is selling at a smaller store looking to take advantage of the decline in these boxes. There's something to be said about where Final Fantasy was and where it is now. I think it should have followed the Lord of the Rings price trajectory, which I've talked about before. The Lord of the Rings Holiday Edition is the poster child for boxes that came out at around $3.50 a box when it was released, and I was buying them at that time. Borderless poster Gandalf the Whites were like $10. I've said that before, but it's good context to remember where this was when it was released. Now it's sitting at $2,534.97. We see decent price action despite this ridiculous sale price. The high sale price, almost $3,000. But the chilling effect of Spider-Man cannot be understated. Look at this. Somebody bought 3 boxes at $2,500. This has seen in the past 3 months a pretty significant decline, $200 or so, going down 6.9% on the charts, and we see only 27 listed. So this is becoming more scarce as people decide to hold on to what is the tentpole product for expensive collector boosters. But this gained its value, which you can slightly see in this 1-year chart, over time. Before Final Fantasy really shifted what people thought boxes could be worth and what time it took before it could accrue that kind of value. It was February 17th to February 23rd. We're looking at $1,400 here. Only 5 items sold. It was gaining slow popularity, 3, 0, 6. Look at how slow the units moved. This was already deemed to be too expensive, but then the Final Fantasy market hit. Suddenly 3, 7, 6, 7, 4, all shooting up 2, 1, 4 in that short little period of time. More sold than everything we see right here happened in a matter of weeks. And that caused the price to jump up to an all-time high. But it earned its value. The singles continued to rise, the serialized cards highly desirable and actually moving. There's a lot to like about this set all around, and the fact that the aesthetic just fits Magic. Look at this. That could be a Magic the Gathering set without an IP crossover. It's obvious the world of Tolkien inspired Magic the Gathering to begin with, so in a way, this is like an Origins box set. It's not really a crossover in terms of TMNT is a crossover, right? So now we look at what's happening with the market though. It's not all downhill, and I found this to be very interesting, and this is the key point I wanted to make in this video. So yes, these Universes Beyond, rarefied air, highly expensive boxes are dropping, but what's happening to Universes Within? Well, Edge of Eternity is now at $450, securing the price point TMNT is supposed to secure on release, and what's been happening? Its lower price point of the Universes Beyond, $350, $325, $310. It's kind of hard to find the exact number, so we'll say around $300 is where this was supposed to be upon release. Look at it now. It's had time. It's doing the Lord of the Rings thing. It is slowly gaining respect as more cards find playability, as Ice-Till Explorer and Ouroboros and other cards start to build their own way within formats. This is getting more excitement. As more people buy collector products from it, we now have a very solid and healthy $450 for this collector box from an in-universe property, which, by the way, involves spacecraft. Look at how many sales are coming through here. We have 2,088 items sold. Let that sink in. That is a huge amount of movement on the product, because you know what? The price point is much closer to what the Magic the Gathering community expects and is willing to pay. So it's a combination of a great product with the right price point. Now, I expect this to go down in terms of volume over the next couple months as this price continues to climb, or may climb. Who knows? Not investment advice. I don't know where it's going to go. It's all speculation. But I suspect this box will go up just because it is a good set that people enjoy and the Shocklands look nice. There's lots of good reasons to buy this. Now we move on to another Universes Within property. Look at this, Lorwyn, $381.95. It did drop down after release. There was some price excitement here at $480, but I think there was confusion on how much an in-universe set should cost. And now we're around $381.95. We're above the MSRP asking price. So as a threshold guideline for above or below the asking price, people are overpaying. To what degree they're overpaying? Maybe it's $10, $15, $30, $50, but they're still overpaying what they should be for this box, showing again excitement for the product despite availability. This set just came out. 3,800 units sold. The volume is much higher. And keep in mind, the price point is just a little bit below what Universes Beyond wants at $450, and those are moving in the hundreds. Well, this is moving in the thousands. Clearly, people are voting with their wallets and saying, we want Magic the Gathering properties with things that look like Magic the Gathering. Now, some would even argue this sort of cute anime style fairy is not really in line with where Magic's history started, but Lorwyn is an established and loved plane in Magic. There's story behind it, character behind it. All of this kind of works as we have this blending of Shadowmoor and Lorwyn together. Everyone loves elves. fairies, lots of really beloved archetypes here that can build on people's previously enjoyed and maybe 10-year-old decks are getting a little bit of tech in this set. Moving further, Bloomburrow, breaking the mold, in-universe set, $798 on a new plane, mind you. They had to create a whole new plane for this. $798 for an in-universe set. This is more than double the initial asking price of this box, and they're selling. Now, maybe not at the same volume we've seen before, but multiple sales at almost $800 or above $800 here over the past month, but it is much slower as it comes off the shelf because this is a pretty expensive product to buy, especially when a lot of the things boosting the value are the gilded foils, and they're very hard to pull. But again, another in-universe set growing in the organic way that Lord of the Rings did. I think this is healthy. I think this is the way it should be because it allows time for the set to breathe. It allows for collectors, players, and everybody in between to go ahead and pick this up as it slowly rises. You see the box goes from $300 to $400. You see things are looking good. You see it drop down here to $675. Keep in mind, this did peak at $852 in September. But you know, it had the slow climb. Just a year ago, you could have bought this for $350. You could still buy it for $430 in May. You could still buy it for $500 in July. There's all these months of time for people to go, you know what? I think I do want more. I think I want more Bloomburrow, and you can get it without it just being 2 weeks later like Final Fantasy, and the boxes are double in price. Then we look at another in-universe set, a set that I really enjoyed, Foundations. It's great to see Liliana getting the showcase. The mana foils were absolutely beautiful, and look at the price on this as well. We have a very similar upward trajectory, $200 gain in a year's worth of time. Slow. There have been drops along the way, but the overall trend is upward. Again, the most in-universe set you can imagine, with in-universe characters with archetypes that are beloved, like zombies and vampires. Lots of great stuff. Dinosaurs, Atali's in here. A lot of great stuff to like about this product, and here we go, a slow trend. So we're looking at a trend here not only in the boxes that are going up being in-universe, but also they're growing in an organic way. This feels like players and collectors adopting this as opposed from outside speculators from other TCGs coming in and trying to pump a product to make a quick profit. No value statements here. That was something that happens. It happens in all sorts of things. It happens in watches. It happens in shoes. Apparently now there's a Dragon Ball Z game that's getting people to have that same kind of frantic and frenetic attention to quickly make a buck on collector and FOMO behaviors. Now we look at the next box I want to discuss. Aetherdrift, critically panned, nobody liked it. This box went down to 2020 collector box prices at $191. And look, even this has seen a 13% shift upward in the past month and a half to $200 again for Aetherdrift. Even a critically panned set that is basically just Fast and Furious with magic is on the rise. All of this paints a picture for a desire, a hunger, and available cash bandwidth for purchases of in-universe Magic the Gathering products. So now we look at what happened with Spider-Man. I remember reporting on Spider-Man. You can go back and watch my videos like a time capsule. When pre-orders doubled the price of what they should be, the speculation and hype on Spider-Man was out of control in the wake of Final Fantasy's booming, immediate success and long-term questionability. But people thought every set, every Universes Beyond set was going to be big. People thought, well, if Final Fantasy can be big, Marvel's Spider-Man is going to be huge. Now, I think in the long term, Marvel Heroes is a full set with 4 commander decks. I think it's going to bring in a lot more players. Those golden boxes look incredible. I think we're looking at a whole different thing here. This is not Spider-Man. I'm not pumping it. I don't speculate. I just love commenting on where things are going because of what it speaks to for the health of our game and for the way people are looking at and consuming this product. We're at $673 here. So there's a clear different story between TMNT and this set. Yes, things are just coming out. Yes, only 7 sold. But I do think Marvel Superheroes is a very clear difference than Spider-Man. And I think that this has the ability to reach up Spider-Man and bring it up even higher because, as I've said before, the Infinity Stones are going to get things that benefit players who have them. They're going to get synergies as the sets continue to release more Infinity Stones. We know the Mind Stone is coming out. Check out my video on that if you haven't seen it. This set is going to bring a paradigm shift for what the Universes Beyond can be, in my opinion, because it has a thoughtful set design, plenty of commander products, and cards that I think are going to be desirable and format shifting in a positive way. We've already broken the barrier in having this kind of art on the Magic cards. At this point, I just want to see thoughtful sets with important game design. Now, talking about Avatar, because this was a good set. I think it tried to rally here. If we look at the price, all-time high was around $1,000. I also reported on this because it was insane when it was occurring. We move all the way down here to a low around 380, but look, it's flying off the shelves. People are still buying this, and of course it does have the release hype around it within this snapshot of 6 months, so that also does skew the numbers because this was a recent release. But when looking at the movement here, people are buying these boxes at, again, 350, 360. now touching 400, but still below the 400 plus MSRP price point of this box. So this is moving gangbusters when it's below what Wizards expected people to pay for it. But that doesn't mean collector products are bad because they're overpriced. If this box was $199 when it came out, I think you'd see a completely different narrative here with how many units sold and the excitement around the set. Avatar, despite some people who just don't like their cards having characters on it like this, set that group of folks aside. Their opinion is valid, but let's set that aside for the purpose of this conversation. These are good Magic the Gathering cards with interesting mechanics that shift things up in a way that hasn't happened in a long time, that also are flavorful with the cards themselves and not just placing a sticker with a new IP on it on a card that could have had anything on it. There's no reason why the card had to have Spider-Man on it or has to have Turtles on it. But here, when earthbending, firebending, and even touching some bloodbending is mentioned in this with characters that are the reason for those kinds of mechanics, narratively speaking, boom, it's a hit. So we have a good synthesis here. I think Wizards is finding their way throughout these products. They have a long timeline for when they announce a set to when they make IP deals to developing the set, getting art for it. That takes time, but I'm hoping that next year's release cycle is going to show some of the lessons learned from Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, Avatar, and then Marvel's. And I think Marvel shows there was already some learning happening. So with all this said, my conclusions are universes within product are seeing unprecedented demand when compared to universes beyond, even touching almost double MSRP price points, and even this one is seeing price points to the tune of almost 14% here, 13.18%. Spider-Man is still low. I do anticipate Marvel Heroes is going to be a success. I don't know if it will mirror Final Fantasy, but I think it's going to be Final Fantasy-like, and I do think Spider-Man is going to rise as a result as people try and get that Soul Stone. The price of the Soul Stone singles will go up, and then the box prices will soon follow. So with all that said, I think Universes Beyond might be finding its stride, but for right now, I hope anybody, if there's an off chance someone at Wizards of the Coast who has control over merchandising, marketing, and has some say beyond what Hasbro is forcing them to do, allegedly, there's some clear financial efficacy in using universes within properties to make interesting and sought after Magic the Gathering sets, and I hope we see a return to that. And when it comes to Universes Beyond sets, a clear focus on narrative, flavor, structure, and unique mechanics is clearly the way to go. I hope you get time to develop these sets properly. I hope you get time to thoughtfully design the release schedule, to thoughtfully design what cards go in, the power level, and what art is going to be paired with what mechanic. And finally, I want to give a congratulations on nailing that balance in Avatar, while stating that I hope from the outside this is a bellwether for things to come. I love Magic the Gathering. I think it's an excellent game, and I only want to see it continue to grow and bring new people in. I respond to many comments below. I do that because I love hearing from folks around the world about how they're playing Magic the Gathering, how they perceive what's happening. It helps inform my commentary here in these videos. So let me know below, what are you thinking about this? Do you think I'm off base? What do you think of these rising prices? What do you think about the trends we're seeing with Universes Within doing well? And where do you think Marvel Heroes is going to be at the end of this cycle? I really appreciate hearing your thoughts, and I hope you appreciate that I respond, so you know that I've read it and that I've internalized the things you said to further inform my commentary in the future. Either way, I love these kinds of videos. I want to get back to doing more market analysis videos as we get into another exciting year. And I hope you're choosing to make your interactions with Magic more positive than they are negative. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm the Nerdy Attorney. Be excellent to each other. Play paper Magic with your friends. And until the next one, court is adjourned.